All right. Well, thank you for everybody for joining us. This is technically our third Parity community chat, our second coffee chat. The second one was a mocktail meetup. So if you can click the next slide. My name is Lauren Gibbs, and my partner in crime, Kara Winger.
Hey,
Uh,
Winger. Hi. Yeah.
Kara Winger, and I will be taking you through the agenda today. So for those of you who don't know, I'm a 2018 Olympic silver medalist, 2020 world champion. Minji makes me say that because I always forget. And I'm the director of marketing at Parity. And Kara, introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Kara Winger. I am a javelin thrower, three-time
Oh,
Olympian so far, eight-time national champion. Yesterday marked 2 weeks post-op, my second career ACL surgery, and it's going amazing. So hope to be back for 2021. And Parity, EOS Director of Communications, alongside Laura Gibbs.
awesome. So what we're going to be going over today is just a little recap on what is Parity. I know some of you were on the original coffee or mocktail chat, but for those of you who weren't, we'll go over a little bit of an update or just a refresh. We're going to go over 2020 updates, so kind of what our plan is for the rest of the year, our thoughts about how to handle 2021 and our framework, and then at the end, we want to hear from you all. This is super informal. This is about you all understanding what we're trying to accomplish, and also help you all the way as best as we can. So please feel free to unmute and ask questions as we're going through the slides. This is about you guys. So next slide, please. All right, so for those of you who don't know, what is Parity? It's an influencer platform. Our goal is to match brands with professional female athletes based on common values, locations, causes, etc., for paid Instagram opportunities. So when you all signed up, you should have gotten an opportunity to fill out a survey. So if you have not filled out your survey, please do so, because that helps us to understand kind of which brands and which causes are important to all of us. So a few things about Parity. We have an all-female board made up of athletes and executives. And our goal is to create incremental income for professional female athletes and help shrink the pay gap in sports sponsorship. I've said this statistic a number of times. I like to say it because it fires me up. There's a $66 billion global spend in sponsorship dollars, and professional female athletes only capture about 0.4% of that. So if that doesn't make you mad, I don't know what will. Next slide, please. All right, so a little bit of an update. So we had a referral contest at the end of June, I believe, and that's where the bulk of our athletes signed up. Most of you signed up at that point. Since then, we've had 105 new athletes sign up. 6 additional sports are represented, and we actually have our first league partnership. So about 50% of the athletes are ice hockey, because the league partnership was with the PWHPA, which Kara will talk about later. And then track and field and volleyball athletes make up the rest of that 50%. So our youngest athlete is 18 years old, and the coolest stat, I think, is that our oldest athlete is 61 years old. Just a reminder, this is for competing and retired professional female athletes. So if you all know somebody who is in either of those categories, you're welcome to invite them to join the platform as well. We have 89 Olympians, 74 medals, 30 gold, 21 silver, and 9 bronze. And then you can see the sports represented in the little graph. Next slide, please. All right, and I will have Nikki give us some information on our Athlete Advisory Council.
So hi everybody, my name is Nikki. I'm actually a Paralympic athlete, and I love saying that because representation within the council. So basically the council is made of awesome women, both Paralympic and Olympic. And what we do is we have these discussions and these brainstorms that help further Parity and its mission and its progression into the world. And it's basically, how do we get more athletes? How do we build the brand? How do we build the platform? what do we want Parity to be known for? So basically, you know, you think of a brand, you think of, oh, Nike, and things automatically come to your brain. Same with Parity, you know, we have the mission to create incremental income for professional women athletes in sports. And it's the same thing. How do we continue on that path? So when you hear Parity, you think of these things automatically. And on that journey, we're also assisting athletes, you know, build their brand, build their platform, help them just be better, well-rounded. So we have all these webinars to help, you know, what do I want my Instagram to look like? How do I, you know, market myself? What's my elevator pitch? Which I think is really, really cool. And for me, it's really cool to be paid to be a part of something that's you know, an awesome group of women that all kind of have the same, not kind of, they all have the same idea to just further women in parity and just in general with that statistic that Lauren said. And they all see the importance of creating incremental income for professional athletes. And I, like most, that I get to be a part of shaping the future of a company that sees the value in professional athletes with me in mind as well. So it's just, you know, going forward, I'm on this choo-choo train. I get to have a say, and there's representation for Olympic and Paralympic. So yeah.
Myself. All right, thank you, Nikki. And next slide.
It's me. So this is another part of what we're trying to do with Parity, because it feels like in the beginning we're going in all these different directions, but they're actually all the same direction because it's about uplifting women. And one of the cool things, like Nikki just mentioned, that there are professional development opportunities within Parity between webinars and Instagram Live opportunities, like being involved on the Athlete Advisory Group. But one of my favorite parts of this new partnership with the Professional Women's Hockey Players Association, the PWHPA, is that we actually hired a hockey player, a member of the PWHPA, to do the graphics that we promoted on our Instagram about this partnership. So Parity is always looking for another opportunity to hire a female athlete. And some of the things that we'll talk about next, like it's just all kind of in the same vein, because how can we hire a company that is owned by an athlete or a former athlete or women owned or minority owned, like always looking for things that are going to uplift people that haven't had the same opportunities as men to make the $66 billion globally in sports sponsorship. So this PWHPA partnership means that Parity is the exclusive online platform for the Professional Women's Hockey Players Association. And we have the same mission to match those players and the league in general with brands that align with their values and goals. And if anybody is part of a sport that wants to pursue a Players Association partnership with Parity, we're fully open to that. And there will be posts specific to the PWHPA where a portion goes to players and a portion of the payment goes to the association to further their missions and goals. So that's a conversation that you have with our fearless founders, Bill and Minji, when you get your leadership in your Players Association interested in a partnership like this. But it's just another expansion of the Parity mission to Players Association. That also includes scholarships for 4 of those PWHPA players to the career development services that EOS offers as well. So always thinking about the total package. Let us know. Next slide, please. In 2020, our goal is to, wait, this is me too, yes. Our goal is to have at least 4 paid posts per Parity athlete. And upcoming September 24th is when we plan to have our very first one for every Parity athlete that has finished their survey. So this is really exciting, and it's, again, just kind of fulfilling a promise that we made in our first coffee chat, and we've gone so many different directions, but again, the same direction with the same mission in mind. But this is like your tangible, like, first opportunity as this 300 plus group of amazing women to have a paid post with Parity. So the subject of that is that we've told you what Parity means to us, and we want to know what Parity means to you. So you'll get further information on this if you have, again, filled out your survey in the form of an email with suggested captions and hashtags that are required, but we want it to be your perspective. What does Parity mean to you? Why are you here? What is the point of you being involved on our platform, and what attracted you to it in the first place? So category examples, like I will be writing some stuff about equity, empowerment, community, like all these different kind of categories that we've thought of as being part of Parity. And then from there, you can run with it and make it genuine to you to have the most impact on your micro influencer platform. Again, like our minimum payment is $100. That equates to 10,000 followers on Instagram, even if you don't have 10,000 followers. So I only have 6,500-ish, but Parity rounds up to 100 because they're just trying to support women, and I think that's amazing. And in this genuine message way, it's going to be really impactful when we all on the same day have a post about this gender equality in sports sponsorship company that also has all of your actual personal interests and passions in mind. Following that, we'll have a couple more opportunities on the year in a lot of different categories. And we're gonna loop in, again, like companies that are Hispanic woman owned for Hispanic Heritage Month, which is mid-September to mid-October. So if you fill out that you care about Hispanic heritage on your survey, you'll have an opportunity to participate in that paid post moving forward. And LGBTQ plus History Month, same thing. So those are our immediate post, this first post opportunities that we'll have available. So more information upcoming, and we're excited about this first paid opportunity. So hope you are too, and that you will really take advantage of it. It's also a Thursday, September 24th. So there's just like a lot of opportunity for when did you first feel empowered in your career, TBT, whatever you really want it to look like. Stay tuned, but it's in the pipeline. Next slide, please. And Carly will tell you about her former experience with Parity paid posts.
Yes, hey guys. So a lot of the athletes have already done this memorial post that we did, and it was super successful. I know like a ton of my former teammates did it, and really we got the caption for you guys, and you could change it to whatever you want. One, it was really meaningful because we were highlighting fallen female veterans, and if you didn't have anyone in mind, Parity paired you with somebody. So it was super simple. You could make the caption however you wanted or use the one that was already modeled. And all you did was we gave our bank information, and it was wired electronically, and you were paid within 3 weeks of the post. So Parity really makes it like as simple as possible. And like the post Kara is talking about coming up, it's really easy. You can do a throwback Thursday, but yeah, this one was super successful. I know a lot of my teammates really liked it.
Any questions so far? Going once, going twice. All right, next slide, please. All right, so this is what I'm most excited about, are the webinars. I think obviously we all want to have a very long and successful career in athletics, but we all also know, or at least my hip knows, that we can't be athletes forever. And so Naya's laughing at me because I'm always calling myself old, because I am. So one of the things that we're really committed to, Kara with her brace, is giving this community opportunities to just learn things outside of athletics that are going to help us moving forward. But we also want to give you guys some information and some resources that will help you while you are currently competing. So this is our lineup for our webinars in September. The cool thing is the first one is on Friday. So I know some of you have already signed up. It's going to be on building your personal brand. And I know when I would hear the term build your personal brand, I'd get really overwhelmed and think, I don't have the money, I don't have the resources, I don't have what it takes to build a brand. I don't know what that means. What is my brand? But the great thing about Vince is he actually started his brand while broke. So his concept is like, build your brand while broke. So the whole point is, oh, can we go back? Yeah. The whole point is to help you design and understand and cultivate your authentic voice and how you want to show up. And just, it's an opportunity to use vulnerability as a tool for success. So that is this Friday at noon Eastern. So as soon as this webinar is over, a post will be posted on our feed with a link that you can click to sign up, so please register and join us. It's a workshop, so it's going to be a little more interactive, and it's going to be 90 minutes, just to give everybody opportunities to kind of go through the material that Vince is going to give us, and then also give some feedback and such. The second one will be about the IG algorithm, and that's going to be an IG live event. So no need to register, just mark your calendars. It's going to be on the 17th at 2 p.m. Eastern. We work with a company called Ridgebox, and one of their employees will be going through just kind of understanding the IG algorithm, why some things go viral, why some things fall flat. I know the IG algorithm is ever changing, but personally, I would like to just get some more information on just exactly how Instagram works, because it seems to make less and less sense every single day. Then the third one, and this person needs no introduction. Well, maybe she does. Lauren Williams, 3-time Olympic medalist, turned certified financial planner. Everyone, I think, has those questions about just finances and taxes. And I think in the professional female athlete realm, it's a little different, right? Because how we get paid is different. When we get paid is different. You know, our payment varies from month to month, season to season, year to year. And Lauren has dealt with all of that, but then also now has a financial background. So that will be a webinar format in Zoom. And then our last one for the month of September is with Gia Goodrich. And if you notice, my lighting has just really improved. And so Gia is an award-winning photographer. She'll teach you how to look your best on video using what you have. So if you can't get access to a ring light, she has some tips and tricks to help with that framing and help you show up at your very best. So that's super cool. And she's got a lot of energy. She's just as ADD as I am. So it's bound to be a good time. And that's going to be on 9:30 at 12 p.m. Eastern. Next, any questions about the webinars? No? Okay. Next slide. All right. So our plans for 2021 are as follows. So our goal is always to increase the amount of money being paid directly to athletes. And so one of the things that we're working on right now is contracting photographers to come out and take professional photos of all of our athletes. And so this would be something that is free to you. You and Parity would have the licensing rights to these photographs. And the point of this is to, one, give you guys content to post for yourselves, 2, to give us content to post about you all, and then 3, just to, you know, give you some opportunities when we match you with brands to have some just really amazing shots to use for those paid posts as well. We are in the process of creating just kind of some test marketing packages to promote to brands. So that's one of the reasons that we're doing a paid post for Parity this month, just to kind of get some ideas and some things to present to brands to show them, like, so this is how many athletes posted, this is how many likes, how the engagement rate, how many followers saw the post, just to be able to give them some numbers to tie dollars to those numbers. So we're doing feed posts, story posts. We may do an IG live series, may do a blog. We're keeping our options open. So if you have ideas of content that we can create that would be attractive to brands, we're more than happy to listen to your ideas and even have you pilot that idea. So just be aware. I think on our last chat, Nikki was like, what about Paralympians? And Minji was like, well, you're on the board now, then you're on the council now. So just prepared, if you come with an idea, be prepared to lead that idea. And so, which is great, right? Because it's always about giving us opportunities. And then our focus for 2021 in the form of social justice, women's history, mental health awareness, Black History Month, and LGBTQ pride. And that was based on the survey. I guess the majority of the athletes who filled out their surveys, those were kind of like the top 4 causes. And so those are some of the packages that we're going forward with, or some of the social justice themes that we're going forward with into 2021. But of course, always looking to add to that. Parity Our parent company is EOS, which is Elites Optimized Services, and EOS does some consulting. So they do brand consulting. Currently, they work with Group 1001 and Rise, which is a social justice nonprofit that is focused on just race education in sports. And so that's a lot of what we do with nonprofits. So if you know of a nonprofit that may need some help with consulting, get their name out, raising funds, please let us know, because we'd like to try and work with some additional nonprofits as well. Like Kara mentioned, if you know of any players associations or leagues that might be looking for an online sponsorship partnership, let us know. And then of course, we'll be doing more paid posts in 2021. Any questions? That was a lot of stuff. Any comments from Bill or Minji?
I did have one comment, where it'll take a second, is that, you know, every time that we come to these coffee community chats, we couldn't be more excited to see the new people that are part of it. And one of the things that they've said, but I want to make it clear, is when we're talking about all of these opportunities, all of these are paid opportunities. So when we were talking about, I know when Nikki was talking about, you know, she said, are we doing anything with Para? And I remember we'd like, well, what do you want to do with Para? And then she got paid to do that. So one of the things that we love to reward good ideas, we really want to change the world. You know what I mean? We want you all to get paid what you deserve. And we're, you know, a part of that. Minji and I worked on Wall Street a long time, and we saw a lot of people, including us, get paid for a lot of money, and we were nowhere near as good as the people like on this line. We want to change that and help you do that. The reason why we do things like give you all that, pay you even if you don't have 10,000 followers, is because we know that you're going to get to 10,000 followers eventually. So we're going to provide you the training and the other things in order to be successful. But I couldn't be more excited to see the continual growth of the Parity community. And our goal is at least 4 posts this year, but personally, I'd like to see at least 10 paid posts for this year, 500 athletes, and 1,000 by end of 2021. So thank you, Lauren, for giving me a sec.
Yeah, Bill, you had your I have something to say face on, so I figured.
I always have that on.
All right, next slide, please. All right, and that's pretty much most of our presentation. We want to hear from you all now and just give you guys an opportunity to chat. Some of the things that we're trying to solve for, this is like the thing that keeps me up at night, is what is the best way to reach you all. As we have opportunities come up, as we want to feature people, as we want to do webinars, we know with the IG algorithm, you may not always see the stuff on Parity, and we also don't want to clog up your inbox. But we kind of just want to understand the best way to reach you, to get information to you that is going to yield or lead to you getting paid. We want to know what webinar topics would be of interest to you. Public speaking, how to price yourself, IG tips, skills for life after sport. Basically anything that you want to learn, we can figure it out and create a webinar, a workshop, a chat, whatever you want to call it, a Q&A, an IG live, to give you that information and those resources. And basically we're just looking for you to help us help you. It would be great when you share events on your social to tag your friends and to tag us in the things that you're doing. And then as we're doing things, to reshare our content and continue to encourage your pro female athlete friends to join us, to fill out the survey, and to be part of our community. So I will, we can end the slideshow there and then just open it up for conversation. I think the first thing I would like to know is just like, what's the best way to reach people?
I'll hop in, Lauren. It's Tiff. Hey, sorry I was late. I'll watch the recording for the first 23 minutes later. But one thing that has worked with me, I recently, with my job, took on being the athlete manager for the college athletes that we have for Classroom Champions. And like the big thing for them was like texting was just way easier, but like I also didn't want to have like a giant text flutter. So I just created a WhatsApp group specifically for the Penn students and for the William and Mary students. And like, if I have any updates that like I need to send out via email or IG, we do it that way. But if there's anything that's like special project wise, it was a whole lot easier to just have a WhatsApp group and send like, hey, we have a special project or we have this. If you need to text someone separately, you just pull them from the WhatsApp. So that's just my recommendation for that I felt was pretty easy and simple.
How big do you think a WhatsApp group can be and be like manageable? Because is 366 too much? You know, like how do you break up those groups?
They're all one group. That was my thing. Right now there's 75 and then 2 admin. So I don't know. I can look at the numbers of what's the maximum capacity that WhatsApp can hold. But it was just for like specialized like information that you guys are putting out, not just like, hey, let's check in and see how everyone's doing. And then you got like 362 texts coming in. And so I would send out the email information, just be like, hey guys, I sent out an email, or like check the Instagram today, just to give it more of like a reassuring, like, hey, hopefully you saw this. It's something where it's a special project. We'd love for you to be a part of it. If you want to, let us know or write me back separately.
Yeah, Carrie, it appears, I mean, it has a natural limit of like 257, but there's a way that we can do it to do it higher than that. So we should be able to get it to be more than we would ever need.
Cool. And even if you can't, like, even if we had like 2 or 3 WhatsApp groups, right? We're like, we just have to ping 3 groups instead of trying to figure out how to reach 500 individuals. That'd be cool. For the rest of the people on the call, would you guys be okay with being included in a WhatsApp group?
I think so. I think what you could also do is just put no reply in the title, and then they would remind people not to reply. And you could always like click on Kara or click on you if we're really confused. We can always like message you back directly, but the reminder at the top not to message everybody and be like, keep it really manageable. Just put it in the name of.
Cool. I like it.
I know for myself, I do really appreciate you guys' emails with all of the information in one place. I find, I think, Lauren, you're probably the same way. We end up having like 10 different chats from all the teams and the groups. Then you have your different groups within your team. And I think it gets a little bit overwhelming at times. And I find I miss messages in there sometimes, or I wake up to, as you said, like 100 messages and all of a sudden there's, you're trying to roll through everything. So I do really, really enjoy the emails with like, this is what's happening, and I can kind of check in there. But it wouldn't be bad, like if there was an email sent out and you guys just found like, maybe there wasn't enough response, that a quick WhatsApp message in a group that said no reply would be awesome. And I think Mimi is with me as well, and she just said that she would she likes the email kind of format as well.
Email's good.
Cool. Yeah, I'm a huge fan of email as well. I know not everybody checks their email, especially when they're competing, and so we'll definitely continue to send out like the email with like all the information for our readers and organizers, those types. And then for the other ones who are like, yeah, I'll get to it when I get to it, we'll ping you guys if like Maddie said, we're not getting a response. So that's some really good feedback. Any other suggestions on best way to contact? No? Okay, cool. So the next question would be just the type of webinars and series that you would like to see or learn, or what are things that we can teach you? Because like literally between Bill, Minji, Sarah, Shannon, Kara, and I, there's somebody that can do pretty much everything, or at least source it out. We are all powerful. Naya, I know you want to learn something.
Well, I was gonna say, I feel like all the stuff that you have under it is like probably all the things that I could think of right now. Yeah.
So the webinars that we have, or like the list of things that I gave?
The list of things under it.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess I have a question, like, are people interested in learning about how to give a good speech in public speaking? Like, is that something people are truly interested in getting into? I love talking, as you can tell, but I know for some people, I think public speaking is like their greatest fear. So
I'm into it. So it's good to get better at things.
Okay.
I think that's a good way. I think that's actually a really good idea, because even though people don't like to do it, I think it's something that's useful. And especially if this is going to be a platform, something that we want to brand and market it on a much larger scale, we'll have to know how to, one, give interviews. And like, think about it. We, go to championships, we go to worlds, we get a mic in our face and we're like, it was great. I loved it. As opposed to knowing how to, cultivate and enunciate or just get your thoughts or feelings out. So absolutely. Yes.
I love that. How to give a good interview is a good one. And I'll tell you right now, you guys, public speaking can be incredibly profitable. Like, that's one of the things that I've been doing a lot of during quarantine from my little dorm room at the training center. And so if we're talking about making money, that's probably the easiest thing to do. And it's just like figuring out how to best package your story. And like, you have to remember, you can't buy being an Olympian or a Paralympian. Like, you can't buy that. It's like one of the most exclusive clubs on the planet. And so like, when people push back and they're like, well, we don't usually pay people, we have top CEOs. I'm just like, the probability of being a CEO versus the probability of being a Olympic or Paralympic athlete, it doesn't compare. So you're going to have to pay me. I love having that conversation.
Lauren, I have I guess something that I struggled with early in my career was like when to get an agent and how to deal with those agents. And like, I was told I had to have my agent read my contract, or a lawyer read my contract, and then had a lawyer read it. And then I ended up in a really bad situation because I didn't know what questions to ask, kind of thing. So I think that would be a good one for athletes that don't know if it's the right fit or when to kind of start to, fit those overwhelming moments to get some additional help.
That's awesome, Adeline. Good to see your name, Adeline. Yeah, that's great, because I've definitely had some conversations about agent struggles with a lot of people on this call. So that's a good one.
I think another one that we could do is how to best go about the conversation of contract increases, and having like the awareness of the fact that you can have your agent with you in those meetings, if that makes it a little easier for them to take control versus it kind of all being on you. So like, knowing when you should be able to ask, what you're allowed to bring up in those meetings in terms of comparing yourself to other athletes and why you get paid this and why they get paid that, and that being okay. And having a response if that response to you is, oh, it's like, don't compare yourself to other athletes, just worry about yourself. Like, some input on how to go about those conversations.
Yeah, the money conversation I think is an important one. Like, I'll just tell you right now, stop doing stuff for free.
Preach.
I'm gonna say it again. Stop doing stuff for free. Anybody?
Hey, you're
else
messing up my curve.
So yeah, like and I'll just throw this out real quick. My thing on like partnering with brands, if they're gonna give me something that I'm already going to spend money on, and I spend a lot of money on, and I really need it, that's one thing. But stop posting for free protein. If you need free protein, let me know. I will work on getting you some free protein. Stop doing stuff for free. All right. Anything
But
else?
I love that too, Naya. Like, I really struggled to say no to people. Like, to say, I know you're offering me this contract, but it's not actually money, so bye. Like, I'm not going to do that. And I think having those conversations with each other is really important too, because then even if it's at the beginning a little bit of money, like, it's more than nothing if we can all band together and like not accept $0. Because people telling you this is what we can do for you is not them doing anything for you. So it's better for me to just walk away. But being able to have those conversations with each other is important to do that.
Another, I'll give you a quick technique that I know I've used many, many times is, if you don't want to do something and it's always better for them to tell you no than for you to tell them no, because it kind of maintains a relationship as opposed to them thinking that you've spurned them. So if you don't really want to do something, price yourself out of it. Ask for something that's so high that if they do say yes, you're more than happy to do it. And it's always good that they're like, well, we just can't do it. Well, I really want to do this with you, you know. And then if it can come up later. So that's a 2-second word from an old guy who's done a lot of negotiating for a lot of money.
I think Bill should host the negotiation webinar.
Oh, Bill just signed up to host the negotiation webinar.
I will happily.
Benji, write that down.
I was going to piggyback. Oh, sorry. Just
Nope.
Before we leave the negotiation one, I mean, I think for all of us, maybe even as part of that negotiation webinar, sharing like some insight on like, how do you start pricing yourself? If you've never asked for anything before, where do you start? What's a good starting point? Like giving kind of maybe creating an opportunity in a community event where we like empower each other with like base levels and targets. And because I think that having that information and that sharing of knowledge does then help elevate and give us confidence when we ask to be paid for something.
Shannon, that's exactly what I was going to say. I was going to offer, if anybody ever wants to know what I charge for something, just shoot me a message and we can talk about it. I have my people that I text them like, yo, a brand just wants me to do this. What would you charge for it? And then they send me back a number. So I think it's important to have that conversation amongst ourselves, because that's the only way it's going to be solved, is if, like Adeline said, stop messing up her curve. Like if all of us start asking to be paid for things, then they know they can't get it for free. And I had a conversation with a brand the other day. They're like, we want to feature you, want to do this. I'm like, okay, well, what's your budget? And like, oh, we don't have one. I was like, you have to understand the type of company that you are. If you're going to put me on your page, people are going to assume that I'm now sponsored by you. And that's going to cut out a really big category that I can't land now because of that. So you're as cool as you think it is for me, it's cutting into my opportunity to make a living. And they're like, we'll come back with you with a dollar amount. I'm like, I bet you will.
And then also probably, like, it's good to know like what you charge and things like that, but how to range it off the different caliber athletes. Because, you know, a lot of us aren't Olympians and we're up and coming. So how do we put a number on ourselves in that realm? Or the amount of followers we have, it might be lower.
I would say your ability to create good content for a brand has nothing to do with your status of an Olympian or how many followers that you have. Like, we have to stop as women deciding that our only worth is in the medals that we win and how far we've gotten in our sport. Now, you are one of the most creative people I've ever met. You got your own brand. You just revamped your shirt. Now I got to buy another one, which I'm going to. I just can't decide if I want a sweatshirt or a long sleeve. Like, that's not a thing. Like, you not having that title, it doesn't matter. You are a powerful, strong, athletic, intelligent, beautiful woman that has the ability to create awareness and content for brands. So I don't give a F if you have OLY after your name. Does that answer your question? You charge.
And I would also, I think another thing is, if you have specifics, contact us, because the reality of it is you all are very, very unique. And so the goal is to you know, let's say you're not an Olympian, but you have high engagement. And let's say you're not have high engagement, but you have a great something in social justice. The idea and the intent to maximize your revenue is to tailor your solution to different brands based upon your individual strengths. And it's not, now you're still going to use some basic things to kind of put floors. So, you know, if you have if you have X number of followers, you know, that's a floor, not a ceiling. And then you use these other things in order to increase your stuff. I mean, I've always got paid way more than I should have, you know, not because I was the most talented, but I was not afraid to ask. And I also delivered. So the point I'm making is you shouldn't be afraid to ask. And I will tell you this, generally speaking, women undersell themselves as opposed to oversell themselves. So one of the things about Parity and why we do all of these development things is we want you to get what you're worth. Okay, and not what people are willing to pay you. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you look at the top 100 paid athletes, and you see it's offensive that there are only two women in the top 100 paid athletes, and it's what Naomi Osaka and Serena Williams, and they're men haven't even been playing pros like Zane Williamson, who just started out. So we want to change that, right? And we want to get a collective of you all and give you the skills that you need so you know how to ask the brands and get what you're worth, not what they're willing to pay.
I'll add to that. We're playing with the format. So right now we've had a lot of experts come in and do webinars and kind of like a lecture style format, but it may be that it might be more productive if we host conversations on specific topics like how are you pricing yourself? So if there's something that you want to chat about in terms of having like a group of athletes come together, that's one way to think about future programming to the extent that you have topics that you want to talk about. The other thing is, I think as women, we're probably better at thinking about how to help our friends out as opposed to helping ourselves out. So maybe think about it in terms of, do you have athletes or other women that could host a webinar on a topic that you think would be helpful to other female athletes? And I'll be very transparent and say we pay all of our webinar speakers. We had Ariana Ince do one on ergonomics, which ended up being, no joke, the best webinar that I have been to. And it was awesome because we also got to pay her because she owns her own business in terms of setting people up ergonomically. So if you have people in your network that you want to introduce us to, we're also happy to go down that route. So let us know.
And I don't know if this is the right platform for it, but for public speaking, if you are uncomfortable, the way I kind of got started was I started with schools. And so there's a lot of schools right now that are in Zoom. And so you can set up 10-minute speeches, 30-minute speeches, run a whole class. And that way you're not really like, yes, you're doing it for free, quote unquote, but you're giving back to your community and your local. And then you can kind of set your price, because if that teacher loves you so much that she recommends you to 50 people, then you realize that like, okay, I'm good at this and I'm gonna have to set my price a little bit higher. But you can start to identify like, A, do you like it? Is this a area you would like to dedicate your time into to get better at public speaking? And B, is this something that there is interest for you to talk back to? I know right now in my schools, the gym classes are really weak. And so they're having athletes and different like nutrition specialists run gym classes for kids. And it's something kind of cool. And you can literally just spend 30 minutes with very little prep time to do it and kind of practice essentially and build up that confidence. So when you do ask for money like Lauren's making, then we feel like we have the footing to step in there and make it a possibility and feel like we are confident enough to do that. I know that that's helped me a lot.
And I feel like that's it. Oh, sorry.
Oh, just agree, because one of my first public speaking things was like a middle school assembly, and it was terrifying because it was middle schoolers, but it like helped me so much to immediately like be more comfortable. So, nice.
I was just saying, like, that's another difficult decision for me, is knowing when to charge somebody for stuff like that and when to like do it because I like doing it and it's nice for them, you know, like when to make it charity and when to make it something that I could make a profit off of.
Yeah, that's huge. I think for me, just to answer that question quickly, I always ask if they have a budget for this or if they have an honorarium. So like I got asked to be on a panel that's trying to raise funds for, I think it's specifically summer athletes because of COVID. And so they had us be on a panel and I said, well, what's your budget? They told me their number. The number wasn't a lot of money. So I was like, you know what, I'll just do it for free, but I still am going to ask so that they understand that I know my value and that they know they're getting a deal and that I'm basically doing them a favor. So like I have a school rate that I use, and then I have, you know, a high school, a college, and then a corporate rate that I use.
But Naya, I think that also goes into what your personal brand is. For instance, for me, one of my tenets and one of the things that's very important to me is education. So I make it a point to donate time to give speaking engagements and things like that. But I also let them know is, hey, normally I could charge X amount for this speaking, but I'm doing it for you guys for free because, you know, that's one of the tenets I stand on. Or other charities that I personally am committed to, then I'll donate time for free, but that's part of my brand. I'm not going to go for a charity that's like not very important to me. Granted, all charities are important, so I'm not saying that, but something that's not part of my personal brand, that's where I will ask what's your budget, what's your honorarium, and things like that before I just agree to speak.
I think I agree with you, Naya. Like, I have a lot of problems like deciding what's volunteer and what's not, because I think as female athletes too, like I love what Alana's saying about education being part of her brand and making it volunteer, but like I'm involved with volunteer organizations that cater to athletes that are like probably making way more money than me. So as an athlete, like I'm expected to volunteer my time because athletes like need to give back to their communities. And so that's like a really hard decision for me. I get it completely because I don't make money from these opportunities because I'm supposed to volunteer. So I understand the conundrum completely.
One of the ways that you can deal with that is make the decision before anybody asks. So like one of the things that we, kind of teach in the career coaching is you put you put together a bio of what you want to do next year. You write down the groups that are important. Let's say that it's important young middle school girls and homeless. Let's say those are the two things. You write those down in the year. So if you're asked to speak on those topics, then you do it. If it's not part of your brand and what you want to do, then you don't. Because what ends up happening, if you do it and you do it well, you can't end up being asked by more and more people, which takes you away from the things that you want to. So make the decision before people ask you is one thing I try to do.
I love that about subject matter rather than like physical location that you're talking. That's great. That's a really good delineation. Other input, webinar topics, an alternative to WhatsApp, being on the road on Zoom meetings like Shannon in Germany right now. That's, yeah, and Carly in Spain. We're so international at this point. Excited about our paid post, the future of it.
I think on that point, just about which topics to volunteer for and which to speak for, I think another webinar topic could be how to effectively use your position as an athlete to advocate for certain social issues and certain things like that, because there's definitely a way to do it to have the most amount of impact, and it's a part of your brand as well. And what that actually looks like. Does it look like just posting one Instagram post, or does it look like going out and marching or what have you? Like, what does that actually look like to have an impact and use your status as an athlete?
Anything else?
Yeah.
Comments, questions, concerns, excited utterances?
Thank you, Liz. And yeah, be on the lookout for a new WhatsApp group, everybody. Very exciting. And emails about our future stuff, detailed ones.
But I think the most important thing is to remind you all this community is about all of us. And so if you have a random idea or thought or thing you want to try, you want to be a part of the Athlete Advisory Council, let us know, because we like to try and make things happen. So, Sarah, any last words?
One final opportunity, I guess. Carly mentioned that we should do Instagram takeovers, or like some of the athlete advisory group has like mentioned that would be really great, and obviously it would be. So that's just another opportunity everyone can look forward to in the future. Oh yeah, very good point, Adeline. And we will never share your contact information with people or each other or fellow females even before we ask you. And we have no reason to do that either. We want to keep you.
I just mean on the WhatsApp group, our cell phone numbers will be on there. And so I just want to make sure that you guys put out like a little splash saying like, hey, this is for this group only.
Yeah.
Is there a way to do WhatsApp where it's just like the admins send out the message, but it's not like, I don't know, like equivalent of an email carbon copy, like blind carbon copy. Maybe we can try to even explore that. And then it would just be like more of a messaging service.
Yeah. Brooke made a good point. There's an app called Telegram where you can do that. I think we're fine with whatever platform you guys want to use. It's just we're trying to not have people download extra stuff if it's a pain. But like if people are down to download a quick app, see, Adeline's like, I do not want to download a new app.
But I remember, and this is like my question about how many people is too many, like sometimes on Olympic teams, like we have a team app, like it used to be Voxer, and it was this horrible noise that everyone had on full volume every time they got a notification, and it just like reverberated throughout the village building, and it drove me absolutely crazy. So like stuff like that I'd love to avoid, but we'll do some more research. And I like Adeline's point, like maybe you can opt into the group, or if there's a way to keep all the information private, we'll keep that in mind for sure.
Yeah, and then Sarah said there is a way to do that, so cool. Sarah the Great has figured it out already for us, so
unsurprising.
All right, well, everybody have a great day. We look forward to our next chat. And also don't forget to sign up for the workshop on Friday. It's going to be awesome. And so thanks for joining us. Thanks for being part of our community, and we will change the world. See y'all later. Bye.
Thank you guys.
Bye.
Bye.